A very good morning. You're watching News 9 with me, Akshita. Well, amid fierce lobbying for ministerial bids by BJP aspirants, RSS claimed that it will not interfere with government formation in a clear signal that Narendra Modi has a free hand in picking his team and that anxious seniors need to settle their claims with the PM-elect rather than bank on the Sangh to intercede on their behalf. However, Madhav also said that the Sangh may give suggestions and expects the government to be sensitive to the Parivar's ideological orientation. The Sangh's clarification came amid BJP leaders including Anand Kumar, Rajiv Pratap Rudy and Harshvardhan being seen at RSS Delhi headquarters and hectic lobbying for ministerial berths ahead of Modi being sworn in as Prime Minister. My colleague Verghese joins us over the phone line with more information. Verghese, all along it was considered that maybe the RSS will have a huge role considering the number of meets it's had, not just with different MP elects but also with Modi himself.
Well, there has been speculations with regards to a lot of people, in fact, coming to, especially asking for ministerial berths in the newly formed government, and a lot of them actually looking at Nagpur. And this has been a source of criticism from the opposition at present, saying that why is it that Nagpur is being given so much of importance? If that is the way, who is actually running the government, whether it is the Sangh or it is going to be the elected representative. Now, to put an end to this, in fact, that is why the leaders at present are looking at especially of the RSS are coming out in the public and saying that it is Narendra Modi who will be given the charge of formation of the ministry. And this also comes after hectic lobbying by some of the senior leaders of the BJP at the Nagpur headquarters, trying to ask the Sangh to intercede on their behalf. And also there is the question of accommodation of the other senior leaders in the party like M.M. Joshi and L.K. Advani. So these are some of the questions that have been in front of the RSS, and now it seems that the Sangh has given its expression on that, and it said that in terms of in the party organization also, it will be Narendra Modi who will be given a free hand, as well as in terms of forming his cabinet also, he'll be given a free hand, and the Sangh will not interfere in those matters of administration. But interestingly, it also went ahead and said that it would expect the newly formed government to be sensitive to its ideological concerns. So it looks like the RSS, especially the Nagpur faction, will be in fact trying to assert and more of an ideological and philosophical viewpoint on the government rather than in its administration viewpoint, Akshita.
Right, Verghese. Also, of course, as you mentioned, the Sangh has made it clear that they want to have nothing to do with the formation of the government. However, they want their ideologies kept intact. So how much of a big role will that play in the BJP going ahead and bringing about different reforms?
Well, it is one of the interesting parts that the RSS is giving out is that it has signaled the fact that it won't interfere in the economic process or the economic policies that the new government will take into consideration. But however, it did go ahead and say that it will ensure that in terms of its ideological and cultural viewpoint, it will be trying to exert an influence. But when it comes to economic policies, again, the BJP will be given a free hand, and it won't technically be involved in policy making or influencing policy making. That will be the job of the administrators.
Right, Verghese. Thank you so much for joining us with all those details. Of course, all this while there's been a lot of speculation on what kind of a role RSS will play in the government, even in the government formation, with several top MPs, including the likes of Anand Kumar and Yediyurappa, going ahead and meeting RSS leaders. So, of course, now the RSS made it very clear they will not have anything to do with the government formation and that they will leave all of that to PM-elect Narendra Modi. And moving on, Bellari's Vijayanagara Institute of Medical Sciences, popularly known as BIMS, and its dislodged director are in the news again. The Lokayukta sleuths have begun to collect further information about the former director. Here's a report on what they found.
Bad days seem to be chasing Dr. B. Devananda, former director of BIMS Bellari. Several complaints were filed against him about the irregularities he had committed and garnered wealth disproportionate to his actual income. It was also alleged that he was leading a lavish lifestyle. The Lokaayukta sleuths had conducted a raid on January 29 and found disproportionate assets exceeding several times of his original income. Loka officials, in furtherance of their probe against Devananda, have sought information from the present director of WIMS on the purchase details of instruments, recruitment of medical officers and teaching staff during Devananda's stint as director of WIMS. When our correspondent spoke to Lokaayukta officials about the development, the Loka Deputy Superintendent of Police confirmed news about the continuation of the probe. Loka officials have listed 16 charges against Devananda, and prominent among them are the purchase of equipments, the contractors he awarded the tenders to, appointment of doctors and teaching staff. Residents of Bellary know that Devananda was close to the mining lords of the city and used his proximity to them to garner wealth and commit several irregularities. They want a comprehensive probe against him.
ವಿಮ್ಸ್ ನಿರ್ದೇಶಕರಾಗಿದ್ದಂಥ ದೇವಾನಂದ ಅವರು ಆಗಿನ ಬಳ್ಳಾರಿ ಜಿಲ್ಲಾ ಉಸ್ತುವಾರಿ ಸಚಿವರಾಗಿದ್ದಂಥ ಜನಾರ್ದನ ರೆಡ್ಡಿ ಅವರ ಆಪ್ತರಾಗಿದ್ದರು. ಅವರ ಆಪ್ತರ ಜೊತೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಅವರ ಒಂದು ಪ್ರಭಾವವನ್ನು ಬಳಸಿಕೊಂಡು ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ಇವತ್ತಿನ ಕಾನೂನು ಬಾಹಿರವಾದಂಥ ಒಂದು ಚಟುವಟಿಕೆಗಳನ್ನು ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು, ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಕಡೆ ಅಕ್ರಮಗಳನ್ನು ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು. ಅವೆಲ್ಲವೂ ಇವತ್ತಿನ ಬೆಳಗ್ಗೆ ಬರ್ಬೇಕಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಇವತ್ತಿನ ಲೋಕಾಯುಕ್ತರು ಇವತ್ತು ಕೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ.
Devananda made every possible effort to continue in the post of director, but he was shifted to the anesthesia department as its chief. But once Lokaayukta conducted the raid, the medical education department suspended him from the service. Well, he used to be identified as one of the big shots in the city, but now he is leading a miserable life. Respite seems to be a distant dream for him. The way investigations are heading forward, looks like he is in for bigger trouble in the coming days. Baswaraj Harnahalli, News9, Bellary.
Well, it's not often the government does something for the benefit of rural women, but unfortunately what had to become a boon for women in Chikbalapur became a bane.
Take a look at these visuals. People crowding in one place. Despair seen on their faces. These are visuals from Chikbalapur's State Bank of Mysore office. 26 women belonging to the Ambedkar Nagar of Gudi Bande Patna were sanctioned a loan of 1 lakh rupees each under direct loan scheme by Dr. B.R. Ambedkar Board. Board officials deposited the money in the bank accounts of the beneficiaries. 2 middlemen in the meanwhile told these beneficiaries that they will withdraw the money without any hassles or expenses. But they had a condition. They wanted 50% of the money as service charge. The middlemen took the beneficiaries' passbooks, checkbooks and other necessary stuff and made the transactions themselves. Drawing 50,000 rupees from the beneficiaries' accounts, they handed only half the money and made away with the other half.
ಅವ್ರು 25,000 ಅರ್ಧ ಕೊಟ್ರೇನೆ ನಾವು ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಡ್ತೀವಿ, ಇಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಆಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತಂತಂದ್ರು. ನೀವೇನು 10 ಪೈಸೆ ಕೊಡಂಗಿಲ್ಲ, ಎಲ್ಲ ನಾವೇ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ, ನಿಮಗೆ ಅರ್ಧ ಕೊಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತಂದ್ರು. ಮೊನ್ನೆ 25,000 ಅರ್ಧ ತಗೊಂಡ್ರು, ಇವಾಗ ಡ್ರಾ ಮಾಡಿರೋದು 25,000 ನಮಗೆ ಕೊಟ್ಟು 25,000 ನಾವು ತಗೊಂತೀವಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು.
The middlemen were clever enough to hold the discussions with the beneficiaries outside the bank premises.
ಬಂದಾಗ 50,000 ರೂಪಾಯಿ ಡ್ರಾ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು. ಡ್ರಾ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ 50,000 ರೂಪಾಯಿ ಕೊಟ್ಬಿಡ್ರಿ ಅವರಿಗೆ, ಮುಂದೆ ಗಲಾಟೆ ಆಗ್ತದೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು. ಅವ್ರು ಆಚೆ ಕರ್ಕೊಂಡೋಗಿ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಪೇಪರ್ಗಾಗಲಿ ನಿಮ್ಮದು ಏನಾಗಲಿ ನಾವು 1 ರೂಪಾಯಿ ಈಸ್ಕೊಂಡಿಲ್ಲ, ನಮ್ಮ ಖರ್ಚು ಇಷ್ಟು ಬರ್ತದೆ, ತಿರ್ಗಿ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ಗೆ 1 ತಿಂಗಳಿಗೆ 2 ತಿಂಗಳಿಗೆ ತಿರ್ಗಿ 50,000 ರೂಪಾಯಿ ಡ್ರಾ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಡ್ತೀವಿ ಅಂದರು.
When the middlemen approached the victims the second time on the pretext of helping them, the latter did not want to lose half the money. The women, who were cautious this time, handed the middlemen to the police. The money granted by the government to uplift women from rural areas is not reaching the real beneficiaries due to criminals such as the middlemen here. Hopefully the government does something and the beneficiaries get the money they deserve. Bhimappa Patil, News9, Chikbalapur.
And well, while many cities across the state wear a deserted and dry look, that doesn't seem to be the case in Dharwad. There is something very pleasant that greets people here. Take a look.
Red seems to be the color of the season. A walk down any road in Dharwad and it is impossible to miss the bright red mayflower in full bloom. Commonly called as gulmohar, these red flowers bloom usually in the month of May. The Karnataka University campus has many mayflower trees which give the campus an entirely new look. Engulfed in an expanse of red, the campus looks bright and brilliant. Regular to the campus say that the flower spreads cheer.
ಅಷ್ಟು ಭಾಳ ಚಂದ ಹೂ ನಮ್ಮ ಗುಲ್ಮೋಹರ್ ಅನ್ನೋದು. ಆದರೆ ಅದು ಕೂಡ ಅದು ಗುಲ್ಮೋಹರಕ್ಕೆ ಇರೋದಂತಂದರೆ ಇಡೀ ದೊಡ್ಡ ಮರ ಬೇಕು, ಮರ ತುಂಬ ಹೂವಾಗಿರ್ತಾವೆ, ಆದರೆ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಚಾಚ್ತದೆ, ಎಲ್ಲ ಕಡೆ ಪಸರಿಸ್ತೈತಿ. ಅದು ಪಸರಿಸೋದ್ರಿಂದ ದೂರದಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡೋಕೆ ಚಂದ, ಹತ್ತಿರದಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋದಾಗ ನೋಡೋಕೆ ದಿನ ಎಲೆ ಉದುರಿದಂಗೆ ಅದ್ರ ಪಕ್ಕದ ಉದುರ್ಕೋಂತ ಹೋಗ್ತಾವೆ.
Scientifically called Dilonix rabia, the origin of mayflower can be traced to Madagascar. The tree was named Mayflower later since the flowers bloom only in the month of May. The people of Dharwad say that the flower adds to the beauty of the city and gives them a very pleasant feeling. It was not long ago that Bengaluru too had many mayflower trees, but development has taken a toll on them and one can hardly find them today. We just hope that people of Dharwad realize the importance of the tree and don't sacrifice it in the name of development. Narsimha Murthy for News9, Dharwad.